of the challenges that DCF grapples with is a balance of child safety and family support. While the agency does have good practices in place, some systematic changes are necessary to better serve families for quality control, remains issues, and sometimes families are left alone and their own devices in situations that reach critical levels for crisis, such as Zion Granales, I can't pronounce her name, a mother who was in foster care until the age of 18. She experienced firsthand when DCF intervened with her lifestyle on unsubstantiated allegations, leading to the removal of her children in 2020. She did win her case. She was reunited back with her children. But there are multiple cases in regards to DCF where these circumstances have occurred. In Florida, DCF operates on a legal framework which was established by state laws, Chapter 39, the federal legislation, such as Child Abuse Protection or Prevention and Treatment Act, which is CAPTA. These laws have outlined the responsibility of children welfare agencies and set guidelines to reporting investigations and suspects for abuse cases, and they provide the mechanics of intervention and support. Under Chapter 39, DCF is mandated to provide a range of welfare services, including foster care, adoption, family preservation. This statute was established to help the framework of child welfare. Additionally, the CAPTA federal law provides funding to the state, the Child Abuse Intervention Program. It sets forth requirements from state to establish and maintain child abuse prevention programs, including developments of reporting. Despite these legal allegations, deficiencies within the child welfare system persist, leaving countless number of children vulnerable to the department. Again, in 2022 alone, 66,000 children in Florida were victims of this. These statistics underscore an urgent need for comprehensive reform in their system. The shortcomings to strengthen the mechanisms and improving the investigation procedures and enhancing their support services for families and implementing evidence-based prevention programs. Florida can work towards a future where every child is safe and given the opportunity to thrive at that point. So some of the systematic failures that I have looked into at this point, one being the policies, OPP-AGA in 2021 was underscored for critical shortcomings with DCF. Notable findings of inconsistent case management practice and lack of robust oversights and foster care providers indicate the chronic understaffing and inadequate changes at this point. The surmount of these systematic hurdles and urgent systematic reforms are indispensable. Strategic investments in staff training programs are imperative to frontline workers to make their skills more knowledgeable, resistant, enhancing them in case management for informed decisions. Implementing the community-based support services and it promises to fortify family resilience and mitigating risk factors associated with child maltreatment. By foregoing these partnerships with the local entities such as DCF that can be tailored to addressing unique family needs. Legislative they need to reform at this point. Some of the relevant laws and procedures that I suggest that do need change are Florida Statute 39, Section 201 or 39.201 and 39.301. They mandate requirements for provisions for child welfare services. They are outdated. Developing comprehensive training programs to cover these topics for sufficient informed care and culture competency and evidence-based interventions. Allocate for sufficient funding to ensure that adequate staffing levels, reduce caseloads, and provide necessary necessary tools and technology for effective management. Another relevant law, I would say, is 39.201.
Forced to eat cat litter. My name is Gabriel Fernandez, and this is my story. Since birth, my mother gave me to my grandparents because she felt no love towards me. I grew up surrounded by my grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins, and siblings. At the age of 7, my mother, Pearl, obtained custody of me. I learned to live with her new partner, and my 2 half-siblings. When I started attending a new school, the teacher reported to social services that I had bruises on my body. I asked her if it was normal to bleed when my mother hit me with a belt. When I got home, I was locked in a closet and beaten with a belt or sometimes a wooden bat. I was also humiliated repeatedly by being forced to wear girls' clothes to school, which my mother and her partner found amusing. One day, my mother decided to punish me more severely and force me to eat my own vomit as well as to eat from the cat litter box. I was at the end of my rope. I no longer wanted to live, and dying seemed like the only solution, so I wrote a suicide letter while at school. Social services eventually intervened with my mother but found no signs of abuse towards me. They asked my mother and stepfather if I had been a victim of anything, but of course, they both denied it. In the following days, I arrived at school several times with a swollen face, black eye, belt marks, shaved hair, and still dressed as a girl. The school alerted social services several times with no response from them. One day the teacher asked us to make a gift for our mothers for Mother's Day by writing a nice text. Mine was, "I will be good. You are a loving mother and I love you because you are beautiful." On May 22, 2013, I was brutally beaten to death because I had not cleaned my toys properly. When emergency services arrived, they found me naked with rope marks on my ankles, burns, and bruises all over my body. I was in respiratory arrest, had multiple skull fractures, broken ribs, and BB pellets embedded in my body, one of which had lodged in one of my lungs and groin. 2 days later, I died from my injuries at the age of 8, after spending only 8 months with my mother. My stepfather was sentenced to death and my mother was sentenced to life in prison. I was forced to eat cat litter.